Hey, good day, good day, good day. It's Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle focused wealth coach. How are you doing this Friday? Welcome back to When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? Today, we're going to be talking about the 4 levels of value. And I'm going to share with you where it came from, and we're going to break it down and how you can escape from survival mode to building a lifestyle focused completely on the wealth. So if you're out there and you're working hard, but you never seem to be getting ahead, and you're operating on the wrong level of value. Today, we're going to have a show that's going to share with you a shift that wealthy people make that may change everything. That's on today's episode of When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? And you're welcome to join me, Ronco Johnson, your host, on the inside. For more details, you want to stick around to the end. And I promise you, you're going to take away some fruit and some nuggets that you're going to want to implement today. I'll see you on the inside. Hey, good day, good day. It's Ronco Johnson, your lifestyle focused wealth coach. How are you doing today? How are you doing today? Listen, I am so happy to have you here and stopping by for this episode of Lifestyle Focused Wealth and When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? So, are you one of those people? Are you one of those people? That's how I'm going to start it off today. Most people don't they don't plan to fail because they're unmotivated. They fail because they're operating at a level of value for themselves that can never produce the life they're really dreaming about. See, that along with itself is a when the lights go out, are you ready moment. And that's a lights out moment that we're going to address today, because the only thing that matters is the structure that you build. So I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you how to build a structure that pays you, protects you, and positions you for generational wealth. That's what today's inside information is all about. So I want to welcome you back to Lifestyle Focused Wealth. Thank you for joining us. This is a place where you don't have to chase money, y'all. We build identity here. We structure it. We create legacy here. I'm your host, Ronco Johnson, and today we're going to be diving into the frameworks that help change, frankly, my life and changed my business and has changed lives of hundreds and hundreds of people and other entrepreneurs around the world. And we're going to share a couple of those secrets with you. Today we're going to be talking about these 4 levels of value that, interesting enough, I heard someone I respect very much, Myron Golden, talking about the 4 levels of value. And I have to give the props to my brother, because he does amazing work if you've never heard his name. Truly an intellect, truly loves the Lord, inspires me in many ways, even from a distance. And I've had the pleasure to get to meet Mr. Golden. And I can tell you, we were talking when I was talking among some friends, and this discussion came up about the 4 levels of value. And I said to myself, I want to dive a little bit deeper. I want to talk about that a little bit more, because we have those 4 levels of value here. And I saw the parity in what Mr. Golden was saying and what we've been saying here at Lifestyle Focused Wealth. And I hope that he gets to see this episode. That way he can give me his insight on it. And I hope I can only do it well, because the expectation level the bar has been set so high. But We have different conversations. People have different conversations, and we want to make sure that you can lock in. At the end of the day, our biggest goal and our biggest motivation is simply this: building and helping people learn, practice, and then implement the strategies that we're talking about. Building foundations and basically helping people earn their stripes in the industry and preparing them for mastery is what really sets us all apart, right? Because there's no money when you're thinking about this. We're not doing this for money. We're doing it because it allows us to become masters at a level of what we do best. In my case, designing financial solutions, business systems, and wealth structures with you, an audience. This represents mastery, design, strategy, system creation, business engineering, high-level thinking, and certification-level stuff. And I'm going to tell you, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love when I'm out and about and someone calls me up and they talk about the episode that they heard or that thought-provoking conversation that helps people get to the next point. Whether you're in a builder stage, maybe an advanced builder stage, maybe you're in leadership builder stage. We're all working towards becoming masters, right? And before you can become the master architect of anything, you first have to be a builder. Hopefully, I'm making sure that we all get this today. I want to make sure that we're getting this today because I find that it's a genuine conversation right from the top. I really do. Because lifestyle-focused wealth and being a builder or an architect of this program means a lot to me. It does. It really means a lot to me because of the fact that I get to sit down and have conversations that invoke real-life experiences for people like you. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you for joining us. If this is your first time here, stick around and put it in the comments. Let me know. Go ahead and hit your like button, your share button. Give me a thumbs up if I'm already resonating with you right now, right? Because this particular conversation we're having today is, again, for people who feel like they're working harder, but they're not getting ahead. And that's probably because you're operating in the wrong level of value. And today I'm going to show you how we're going to shift that. Because wealthy people have started to make these changes. And to build your wealth, this might be that change that changes everything. It may just change everything. So today we're going to be talking about how you can escape the income traps that most people get stuck in. Survival mode, right? You're going to learn about how hard working alone is. If you're working alone, you're going to learn that you'll never create the wealth that you're probably looking for in most cases. These 4 levels help you determine that your income ceiling, that you have one, that you've created one, maybe unintentionally, but you've created a ceiling for yourself. So when we get to this point, how do we shift from a builder to an architect, right? And I love the fact that we're going to talk about 5 pain points as we do every episode, just 5. I'm sure there's much more out there. But we're going to talk about 5 pain points that keep people overwhelmed, underpaid, and feeling stuck. And we're going to give you some real solutions that you can apply today. I mean, right away, right? Right away. Can't give it to you for free. Your cost of admission is to put down, I want it today. Put it in the comments and give me a thumbs up. I want it today. And I want to ask you, don't forget to join our Lifestyle Focused Wealth community. It's just $16 a month when you do your annual plan. And you can find it at lifestylefocusedwealth.com. Hopefully you get a chance to book a one-on-one session with me, Ronco Johnson, and we can talk about it, right? So here we go. As I said at the opening, most people don't fail because they're unmotivated. They don't. They fail because they're operating at a level that they can never produce the type of lifestyle that they've been dreaming about. Simple as that. Okay? Simple as that. We need to talk about how do you get to those stages? How do we shift from being the builder to being the one who masters it for our own lives, right? I want to make sure that we can master this for our own lives. Because when we do this, it makes life simple to me. Because you should be worrying about less and less and less and mastering more. Right? If that's making sense to you, please put it in the comments. Hello, everybody. I'm Ronco Johnson, your host. Thank you so much. Sam, I see you out there, buddy. I see you wanted out there. I'm glad that you hanging in there with us today. I see you, Leela. Thank you joining us. I'm giving everybody time to warm up because this is going to be one of those. This is going to be one of those conversations that you're not going to want to miss. Hey, Donna, I see you out there. You got your pens and paper? Everybody got your pens and paper? So praying point number one, we're going to start talking about that right now. And you've heard me talk about it last week too, but we're just going to expound on it. We're going to go a little deeper into it. We're going to talk about it a little bit further than what we have before because there's different stages in it, right? There's really different stages in where we are and where we want to go. And a lot of times you just got to walk in it to really start to figure out what's best for you. I'm learning that myself. Still building from the builder stage to becoming the master architect. And these are just some ideas that I want to share with you. Some important ideas. When we're talking about these 4 levels, here's where they are, the builder stage. The builder stage for me is implementation. This is where people get paid for doing the work. This is where most people are, survival mode, right? We're going to talk about unification. This is the advanced builder mode. This is where people get paid for managing people and systems that we already got out there. That third tier is when you become a leader in the builder stage. A communicator. These are people who get paid for moving people with their words. And the very last stage, the master architect stage, is imagination. And we're going to talk about this because this is where people get paid for designing ideas and designing systems and solutions. Now, That's just going to give you a little bit of time to get to where you are, and you start to figure out where am I in that, right? Where am I in that? So if you can figure that part out, let's start addressing what the pain points are. Because every week I'll have that conversation about the pain point, right? I'm working too hard, but I'm not getting ahead. I'm working too hard, but I'm not getting ahead. We're always, the cause of this is that you're stuck at implementation. See, here's the solution I'm going to give to you. You might want to consider moving from doing to designing. Think about that for a second. Because builders trade time for money. Architects trade ideas for money. You can't work out a broken value level. You can't. You can't outwork one. You can't outwork a broken value level. And what I mean by that is pretty simple. Here's a scenario that I want you to consider. A listener's going to work 60 hours a week, but he still struggles. And if you show them how shifting to communication or imagination multiplies their income, you immediately get them out of that stuck movement into moving forward. Okay? Pain point number 2. If you're still feeling overwhelmed and burned out, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. It happens to us all. But let me share with you why it's happening to you. It's happening because you have no system in place. It's happening because you haven't delegated. So our solution here is we got to move into unification, that third tier. We got to move into that third tier. And how we do that is we start to think about, well, I need to create systems that create sanity. Because you're almost insane if you're trying to do things alone. Delegation creates freedom. And we hear that all the time. If you're going to start a business, millionaires and billionaires, they don't do things on their own. They delegate. Leadership by itself creates leverage. When you're leading people, businesses, organizations, you have tremendous leverage because you're affecting so many people in the community. Here's a scenario that I want you to understand. A small business owner doing everything alone, if you can imagine, been there. Suppose you were to show that person how to hire. Suppose you were to show that person how to automate. And then have discussions about unifying, bringing people together, not gatekeeping, bringing people together. What if? We got to add that to the scenario. I'm going to come back to the what if statement in a moment, because you've heard me lead up to it over the past few weeks, right? But we're just going through the pain points right now. Pain point number 3 is if you're invisible in your favorite industry. Why is that? Maybe because you don't put a lot of value into your communication. No communication value. Here's the solution. It's very simple. Learn to influence, speak, sell, and teach. See, Your influence is income. Visibility is value. And your ability to communicate. Communication alone is the new currency. I hope y'all are following where I'm going today, because it may sound like I'm totally off record and I'm giving you some nuggets. There's a whole bunch of meat on the bones today. So if you could imagine a talented builder who's never promotes themselves, they work all the time, but they don't say much. And then you show them how to communicate their identity. Not information. People think they want more information. It's not the information. A lot of times you got to communicate your identity and who you are. Pain point number 4. I know that there's some people that I've talked to that said, I have these ideas, but I don't know how to execute them. RJ, can you help me execute them? I got this idea, but I need you to help me execute them. That's because there's no imagination structure. And the solution to that is we got to move from this stage to becoming a master architect. Being at that master architect stage, right? You got to be there. You got to move there. This is when you need less and less. And then ideas need frameworks. So what I'm saying here is, if we have a conversation where we're talking to you about your ideas, they still need a framework. They still need a structure to work from, because the frameworks create products and products create wealth. Does that make sense? That framework creates the product, and then the product itself creates the wealth, the freedom, the choices, the opportunities. In this scenario, a listener with a dream that has no blueprint, they don't know where they're going, right? So this is where we help turn imagination into a business model, something that you create, right? Something from your mind that we're creating. And pain point number 5, we're going to talk about this today too. If you're still one of those people that I want to build wealth, but I don't know where to start, here's your cause. There's no identity ladder. There is no next level. There is no progression from where you are to where you're headed. And you need to be okay with progression. So if you're young in the business or you don't know where you're going, get in a room where other builders are and follow the builder. They follow the builder until they become master architects in progression. You know, what also led me to this conversation is I was so blessed to be around some of the world's brightest minds. And Dr. Thomas Menza and some others. And if you don't know who Dr. Thomas Menza is, I would encourage you to look him up. Well, he would talk about the differences between people who move, who start, people who move, and people who build, and then people who become masters at what they're building. So if you're a listener that is listening to me right now, and you feel stuck in survival mode, what if I were to show you a pathway to become an architect of wealth, of your wealth, of your family's wealth? What if I can show you that? Right? That's powerful. That's powerful, folks. So today, that's what we're going to be focusing on. And we're going to be talking about. And this segment today is sponsored by L.R. Johnson and Associates. So hopefully you can go there and check them out at lrj-associates.com and schedule some one-on-one time to sit down with a financial expert that can take you through your information and help you start building this legacy for yourself and finding out where you're stuck. They may have the blueprint for you and they can carve it out, right? They have that blueprint for you. So y'all ready to break it down? So here's the breakdown. I want you to take a moment and ask yourself this. Which level am I operating at today? Are you in the implementation stage? Are you in the unification stage? Are you in the communication stage? Or are you in the imagination stage of your career? There's only those four: implementation, unification, communication, and imagination. Where are you? Put this in the chat. Which one are you? Which one? I see y'all in the chat. I see you in the comments. Post this in the comments. It's making sense to you? I'm hopeful I'm not losing anybody. Which one are you? Implementation, unification, communication, or imagination? Now I want you to ask yourself this. Which level do I want to operate in? Where do you want to operate? Right? Because that gap is your assignment. That gap alone is your assignment. And only you can make the good decision to figure that out. To figure that out. Right? All you want to know is how to fill in that gap. All we really want to know is how we fill in the gap. Right? This is exactly what we teach in our mastermind classes. And we do these one-on-one sessions, and we have these tremendous outcomes and these breakthroughs, because this is exactly what we're wanting to get across. And I think it's fair to say transformation is not going to happen from the internet, but it may inspire people to look into things a little bit deeper, a little bit further. However, in that mastermind session, when we're in one-on-one, we're able to nail down what is the thing that got you stuck. Is it language? Is it getting started and implementing something? What is it, that part that got you stuck? And then we reframe it. And we show you how to move from a builder to a master architect, how to design systems, first of all, how to structure it, and then how the strategies that create wealth, protect wealth, and then you can multiply wealth once you understand it. But too many people, they're focused on the destination and not the journey. It is a journey. You're not going to get there all in one shot. Okay? Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself for the journey, for the ride, right? There's a lot of nuggets to pick up, because we've been talking about shifting your identity, your value shift, your income shift, and then your legacy shift. All these different things have to happen. But first, it starts with identity. When your brain starts telling you negative stuff, how do you shift yourself from a negative past, ego-driven fear of something that happened in your past into something more thought-provoking in your future, the part of you that you haven't experienced yet? A lot of us will say to you, it's your mindset that's keeping you from your future. Simply. Most millionaires and billionaires, that's just what they talk about. This is what's keeping them apart. Today, we've been talking about the value shift. How do you see yourself? Give an example. That value shift for me, when I think about it, it came when I first started speaking. $500, I think it was, I was charging for speaking on my local tours. And I would go and I would give them my heart. I'd tell them everything I knew. And one day I was talking to a friend of mine and he said, hey, so, you know, what you said today was so valuable. Not understanding what he was saying, I thanked him and I said, I really appreciate that. But as a sidebar conversation, he explained to me. He asked the question why I was only charging him $500. And I replied at the time, I didn't think anybody would pay more than $500 to hear me talk. I mean, and he immediately said to me, RJ, it's because you don't see the value in yourself. You know, when I heard Myron Golden talk, I realized the one common thing. A lot of us place a lot of value on things that don't have anything to do with us individually, and put less value on ourselves. But when you can shift your mindset to recognizing how much value you bring to the room, a lot of things start changing, right? A lot of things start changing, folks. Because when you can start integrating the what if factor to everything that we're doing, and you start asking what blessings come from it, everything gets worked out a little bit differently. So let's go back through them and repeat. I tell you what, we're going to take a small break, and then we're going to come back, and I'm going to share with you those 5 pain points, and then we're going to twist it just a little bit. We're going to put those what ifs, and I want you to be prepared to do them with me, because we want some transformation for you. You listen to us at home. So don't go nowhere. Sit back, relax, and unwind. I'll see you in just a second. Hey, join our Lifestyle Focused Wealth community. Membership starting at $16 a month when you pay the annual subscription. So register online today at www.lifestylefocusedwealth.com. Good day, it's Ronco Johnson, your Lifestyle Focused Wealth Coach. Here we're talking about these 4 levels of value, right? And how we can escape from survival mode to becoming a master architect of our lifestyle focused wealth mindset. And that's what we want to talk about today. Just little bits of it at a time. Just a little bit of it at a time, right? Because I've already asked you these 4 pain points. I already gave them to you earlier. So what I want to do is I want to just do a little shift here. I want you to do it with me. Because we talked about those people that feel like they're working too hard but not getting ahead. And I said earlier, the cause to that is that you're stuck in the implementation stage. And the only way to help that out is to move from doing to designing. And I'm going to ask the question, well, what if? What if the only thing holding you back isn't your effort, but it's the value, the level of value you're operating in? What would be the best case scenario in that? This is where you shift from trading hours for dollars to creating ideas, systems, and solutions that pay you even when you're not working. See, that epiphany came to me, and I'm telling you, the three blessings that come from that, I could name three blessings that came from it. The three blessings that came from it, and this was a struggle. It taught discipline. It revealed my personal capacity. It showed that I was meant for much, much more. So when you can stop and ask yourself, what's the best possible outcome? And then give me three blessings behind it. Tell me what you find for yourself. Because when we're thinking about trading time for money, when architects really trade ideas for money, remember what I said earlier, you can't outwork a broken value level. If you think you're worth $10 an hour, then that's what you're worth. If you think you're worth $15 an hour, that's what you're worth. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you think that you're worth $150,000 an hour, guess what? That's what you are worth. The only thing that changed there was the value that you set for yourself. I'm hoping that I'm reaching somebody today. I hope I'm now teaching someone today. That second pain point that we talked about, when you feel overwhelmed and you're burned out, and I said earlier, it's probably because you don't have a system and you're not delegating something to others. And our solution was to move to unification, right? So here's the what if to that. What if the burnout isn't a sign of failure at all? Yeah. What if it's just a sign that you've outgrown your current level? See, when we really sit down and we peel this thing apart, I really like the dynamic of the question, because it makes you focus on it a little bit deeper. And don't give yourself an excuse that you can just jump off and get out of. See, the best possible outcome from that is that I started building more systems that you can delegate tasks. You can create structures that give you freedom, give you more clarity, and give you peace. When you do that, and you start thinking about those best possible outcomes, tell me three blessings if you can. Put it in the comments. Give me three blessings that may come from it. Three blessings that came from this burnout that you had. Maybe it forced you to slow down. Maybe it exposed an unsustainable habit that you had. Maybe it pushed you towards leadership in roles that you never thought you wanted before. Think about what I'm saying, folks. Hey, 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 hey. I'm seeing a lot of y'all already putting your pen to paper, and you're thinking, I got to set a higher value for myself. Because if I can start creating systems that help me keep my sanity, isn't that what AI is all about? How many of you are overwhelmed with emails, to-do lists, paperless instruction? All it helps us to do is create delegations for more freedom. Leadership creates leverage, right? You don't have time to read a book. Today, you can take a cell phone, take a picture of the title of the book, and get a summary in minutes. No more Cliff Notes. How many of you guys remember those things? We're old school if you remember Cliff Notes. But again, if I could show a person who's working every day, doing every bit of their business, and I can show you how to hire, how to automate, and then how to bring people together, what difference would that make? Right? What difference? It make a big difference. On pain point number 3, when we said we're invisible to my industry, what if your invisibility is simply the universe telling you that it's time for you to speak up, show up, stand out. No longer can you sit in the back of the class, hiding behind information that you definitely have that can help other people. That's a lights out moment. But what is the best possible outcome that could come from it? Maybe you become known, trusted, and respected. Globally, even. As your income rises, your influence will start to rise. But you got to trust the system. It don't just happen overnight. It really doesn't happen overnight. You got to trust the system. I'll tell you. And then you got to reframe it and say, what 3 blessings? What are my 3 blessings? If I could get out and be a little bit more extroverted, if I needed to be, what are the 3 blessings that we're going to get? What 3 blessings come from being overlooked all your life? Well, maybe it built humility. Maybe it made you sharper with your skills in silence. Maybe it prepared you for the spotlight. See, like I said earlier, when you shift the way we think, the results are going to change. Because your influence is your income. Your visibility is your value. Your communication style is your currency. And these things could be your blessings. Just because of who you were yesterday, don't let that deter you. Remember what I said, fear is your ego protecting you from something in your past that has nothing to do with the next 3 minutes. It has nothing to do with the next 5 years. What you did yesterday is just that. It's yesterday. Start reframing your brain so that you can focus on the blessings. What if I do what RJ's saying to do? And I start thinking more optimistically, and I start putting these items that come to my brain into work, into structure, into implementation. Am I making my point? I'm hopeful that you're understanding me today. Even my cadence, I want to make sure that I've slowed it down so that everyone gets a chance to stay with me. For that point number 4, and I'm moving up because I know we're coming close to time. When you think you have no ideas, but you don't know how to execute them, well, what if your ideas aren't random? The things you've been thinking about that you won't tell anybody, suppose they weren't random. What if they're instructions for your next level? Mentally, heavenly, spiritually. What if it moves you to the next level? What would be the best possible outcome in that? What? You turn imagination into structure? You turn the structure into a product? And then the product turns into wealth? That's how I see it. There's 3 blessings in that altogether. Maybe those blessings that you thought came from confusion, it made you curious. It made you seek more guidance and coaching. Maybe it made you more hungry because you have more clarity. You know exactly what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. Your ideas need the framework. Your framework creates the product, and your product creates the wealth. But you haven't sat down. You haven't sat down and kind of played with it. Ooh, like I said, if you're a dreamer with no blueprint, what if we turned your imagination into a business model and we start to put these frameworks in place? Like I said, the frameworks create products, and the products create your wealth. I can't believe I'm telling you guys this is a community service project. Are y'all getting what I'm putting down? Give me a thumbs up if you're understanding where we are today. If you see real value in what we're talking about today, please let me know in our chat. Please let me know. I'm always listening. I'm always listening. Hey, before we wrap up, don't forget, I want to encourage you to go down and give us a like, give us a share, tell somebody you're listening to us. And don't forget, at the end of each episode, you can go to our descriptions notes, and then you can sign up for our bi-weekly email list. Learn something about our articles and travel and recipes and all the good stuff is there. It's free. It's free. I just want to remind you of that before you leave us. Right? So what if you want to build wealth but don't know where to start? And I said earlier, your identity ladder is the problem. What if the confusion you feel is actually the doorway to your next level? Stop and think about that. Because I know that there's people waiting for their breakthrough, but they're just on the other side of the door. And all they had to do, the door's not even locked. All you had to do was twist the doorknob and pull it open. What's the best case scenario that comes from that? You step right into being into the builder stage with clarity. You know where you want it to go. And then rise from being a builder to a master architect on stage with a bunch of confidence, because you know what you're talking about. You've tested, you measured, you've known. You've got results, you've got receipts. You've been an expert in your class. Tell me 3 blessings that could come from that. 3 blessings that come from you not knowing where to start. As I said earlier, maybe it keeps you humble. There's a lot of millionaires out there, they're not talking about their wealth because they're still grinding. They're still hustling. They're still learning. They're still developing. They're still finding new coaches. They're still finding new implementation strategies. They're still figuring it out. But from all that, one of the blessings that come from that is maybe it made you open to learning. When you were closed-minded, closed mouths don't get fed. Closed minds don't either. It positions you for transformation. Being humble, open to learning, and positioning yourself to transform. Those are the 3 elements that I honestly think is the biggest blessing of all. Because that's what starters do. That's what movers do. That's what builders do. And that's what masters are all about. They don't get stuck in survival mode. They start looking at things in an abundant way of thinking. Right? Right? Hopefully I'm helping somebody today. Hopefully I'm helping somebody today, because we're talking about mental imagery here and simple concepts, easy for you to understand, because we want to make sure that you're able to ride with us. We want to make sure that we make this transition for you much, much more simple. We're talking about imagery, right? When you're working hard but you're not getting ahead, imagine you on a treadmill, running full speed, sweating and exhausted, but the scenery never changes. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. That's implementation. That's all that is. Builders work hard. Architects work high. It's different. And when we start thinking about the what if the problem isn't the effort, but it's the treadmill you're standing on? Because the treadmill is designed for you not to go nowhere. But if you get outside and you did the same action outside, guess what's going to happen? That best possible action for you is when you step off the treadmill and onto the blueprint table, where your ideas, not your hours, create your income. It's going to teach you those three blessings. You're going to gain some endurance. It's going to show you that you do have capacity. It's going to reveal that you're meant for much, much more labor, more than labor. That's what it's going to show you. Okay? Now you're going from that person working 60 hours a week. So pain point number 2, and we're going to wrap up. We'll try to get through them really quickly, but when we talked about being overwhelmed and burnout, so I just need you to think about it. Picture yourself juggling 10 flaming torches. You know, you're up there, you're throwing these things in the air. First, it feels impressive, and then it becomes stressful, and then it becomes dangerous. And that's what happens when you're doing everything all by yourself. When you're doing it all by yourself, it becomes a problem. It's problematic. So you got to stop and ask yourself, what if burnout isn't the breakdown? What if the breakdown or the breakthrough is trying to happen and you're preventing it because you're staying there by yourself? The best possible outcome in bringing somebody aboard is that the torches, that you put those torches down. You start building systems, and then you let the system juggle for you. That's what we mean by becoming a master at storing our wealth. Let the storage facility earn us money. We don't have to depend on anyone else. The blessing in that is that it forces you to slow down. It still exposes what was unsustainable. Aging is going to happen. It pushes you towards leadership. It puts you towards owning it, hiring, automation, unifying. If you still feel invisible, I want you to imagine being the brightest light in the room. But someone put a lampshade over your head. Your brilliance is there. It's just covered up. Communication removes the lampshade. That's all we're trying to say here, folks. What if? What if that invisibility is simply the universe telling you to speak up? The best possible thing that could come from that is you become the lighthouse, the one people look to and look for when they're lost. And the blessings that come from that, you've already built humility. You've already sharpened your skills in silence. You're prepared for the spotlight. Step into it. It's time. It's your time. You can't just be a talented builder who never promotes themselves. It's time to show. Show your identity, not information. And point number 4, if you have ideas that you don't know how to execute, imagine having a toolbox full of powerful tools, but you have no blueprint. To build anything, then I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The tools aren't the problem. It's the plan. See, imagination becomes architecture when you structure. And when you add structure, you can build anything. So what if that idea that you had wasn't random? What if they're just instructions for you to build to the next level? See, I'm putting all that together for you just like a dinner. You bring the greens, you bring the mashed potatoes, you bring the baked beans and the turkey. And we put it together and we got a feast. Right, folks? So, I know we're running short on time, but I just want to make sure that we get it out there and get it right today. Because I want you to have your swag. It's important for us to have our swag. Because I want you to build wealth even when you're not at work. So I want you to imagine standing at the bottom of the staircase in the dark. And you can't see the top. And you can't see the next step even. But the staircase is there, waiting for you to climb it. You know it's there. I know it's there. That's the builder taking the journey of an architect, becoming a master. And what if your confusion is simply the doorway to the next level? What if? What's the best possible outcome from that? Is that you take that first step and you turn the lights on and the stair reveals itself. Here's your 3 blessings. What could come from that? Maybe you kept humble. Maybe you're open to learning. And maybe you positioned yourself for transformation. Hey, that's my time today. I'm hopeful that I gave you some takeaways that have enhanced your thinking ability about where you are, and that maybe you'll want to do much, much more with the time you have left. Go out there and make an impact. Go out there and change the world, and don't hide it. No more gatekeeping, folks. Let's get out there and increase our level of value, because the world needs more value. And you might just be the person holding it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So I look forward to seeing you at the top. That's my time for this week. It is Friday. You can catch me every Friday Eastern Standard Time right here at 1 o'clock. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, different day, and positive energy all week long. I look forward to seeing you at the top. That's my time. I'll see you next week. Peace.